Good Monday morning. Welcome on into Morning JOX. Damian Mitchell alongside John Saybear on this 15th day of December. And if you weren't in the Christmas spirit over the weekend, when you wake up this morning and get to moving and you step outside, it is full blast. It is an Arctic, It is the polar vortex starting to hit an Arctic chill down here. When I woke up this morning, the feel like temp was 13 degrees in the city of Birmingham, Alabama. But no, you need to be careful. Be safe. Be weather aware. Watch your pipes. It's not just cold. It's freezing. It is freezing cold, but nonetheless, we are here. We appreciate you hopping on with us this morning. A lot to recap over the weekend for only a couple college football games. There was a lot of college football news. And none more important than right here in the state of Alabama, as we finally hear from quote unquote, hear from Kalen DeBoer. We get a graphic, so you know that it is real. Of course, with the situation with Sharon Moore up there in Michigan and his recent firing and arrest, Kalen DeBoer's name was the first one to pop up as far as betting odds of he's going to be the next head coach. Well, Kalen DeBoer addresses this. And again, Alabama, 4 days away from the college football playoff. Friday night against Oklahoma. Got to travel to Norman. So there's a lot of things that he needs to be focused on. But he nips it in the bud with a graphic that says, "My family and I are very happy in Tuscaloosa and remain extremely grateful for the support of President Moeller, Greg Byrne, the board, and so many others. We have an incredible opportunity in front of us. So my sole focus is on Alabama football and our preparations to play Oklahoma in the college football playoff. I have not spoken and have no interest in speaking with anyone else about any other job. I am fully committed to this program and look forward to continuing as the head football coach at the University of Alabama." Set in stone. Again, we didn't hear it from his mouth, but the graphic tells us that the coach put it out there, so it's 100% official. So when you start hearing about any other coaching vacancies going on, they're not going to be looking at Tuscaloosa, Alabama, because Kalen DeBoer says, "I'm here. I enjoy it. I love it. I'm here to stay. My only focus right now is to get us in the college football playoff." And that, again, that is 4 days away as they take on the Oklahoma Sooners for the second time this year. We saw how the first one went. But it's a whole new ball game now. This is a pursuit for a national championship.
This one's on the road, though. Okay, all right.
It's completely different, but we're excited to break that game down as we get closer to kickoff. But it is game week. If you're an Alabama fan, you've taken that week off after the SEC championship with Georgia. Now you know what the task is at hand. Can you rattle John Mateer? Can anybody rattle this Oklahoma defense? Now, you were able to put up a lot of yards, but you didn't necessarily finish it all with touchdowns in the end zone, but we'll get closer to that. Also, some more news over the weekend. We have a Heisman Trophy winner. For the first time ever, an Indiana Hoosier claims the Heisman Trophy for 2025. Quarterback Fernando Mendoza. And when you look at how the voters voted, it was not even close.
No.
It was a landslide. But the quarterback for the Indiana Hoosiers, 2,980 yards, 33 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, has 240 on the ground with 6 touchdowns, as well as he is the Heisman Trophy winner for the number 1 overall seed in the college football playoff in the Indiana Hoosiers. And I thought his speech was very heartwarming. It was very different from a lot of the other, I guess you say, some of the past speeches that we've gotten, because he kind of embodies almost like the video game kind of experience of, hey, I wasn't highly recruited. I was not, I pretty much didn't expect to be in this position. I wasn't the 5-star coming out of high school. And in the transfer portal era, this is what, the 4th straight transfer player to get it, because last year, Travis Hunter from Jackson State to Colorado, Caleb Williams from Oklahoma to USC, and then Jaden Daniels from Arizona State to LSU. And of course, you had Joe Burrow, but that was before the transfer portal era had officially begun. But this is the 4th straight transfer player to win the Heisman. But I think that, at this point, and me and Conrad talked about this for a couple weeks when it came to the Heisman Trophy, that it never really felt like it was one. We just knew definitively that this is the guy. This is the absolute best player in college football right now, or the most valuable player in college football. But Fernando Mendoza, when you look at just everything and his impact for that Indiana program, what Kirk Cignetti has built up in the past couple seasons, and really and truly for somebody that we've gotten a chance to see in both places. We saw him at Cal when he came to Jordan-Hare, knocked off Auburn. I don't think anybody really watching that game felt that, hey, that quarterback for Cal, he could be holding the Heisman Trophy at season's end if he were in a better position. But what he's done and his impact there at Indiana, congratulations to Fernando Mendoza. And again, he's created history because he's the first Indiana Hoosier to ever do it.
I do think you're right in that it's not that he doesn't deserve it. It didn't feel like there was an overwhelming, oh, yeah, like this is the guy. Like last year, yeah, Travis Hunter probably was that, but if not, at least Ashton Jeanty was like, we hadn't seen a running back do this in quite some time. So, okay, yeah. And for the most part in years past, there's been, if not one definitive, at least two that have been like, okay, like they're at least, we're going to invite 3, 4, 5 people, but we really know it's this person or maybe whatever too. This one, no one really came and latched onto it. Like even when Indiana found that comeback against Penn State and Gus Johnson's like, give him the Heisman now. Like,
right.
Everything that they showed from that was the catch, not the pass. Again, to his credit, he made the pass, but everyone was so excited about the catch. It was like, oh yeah, well, which part of the reason why I think the Heisman may have lost its luster is like, oh my, that was an incredible catch. I can't believe that receiver. He won the game. He did everything. Let's give the Heisman to the guy that threw it. Like, okay, I mean, the guy caught it, but okay, yeah, sure, fine. But even still, like, as again, congratulations. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. It just didn't feel – it almost feels similar to back when Mark Ingram won. And I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but – we had Andrew Luck, and he was doing, fairly good things. I don't know if he was doing amazingly great things, but he was doing pretty good things. And if you look at the numbers that Ingram put up versus some others, it's like, okay, those were pretty good, but they weren't, like, legendary.
Right.
And so it just almost feels like, well, we had to give one this year. And, again, no offense to Mendoza, it didn't feel like there was someone that was leaps and bounds ahead. But that said, he won decisively. But I also think that's why – people, at least around here in the South, felt that Diego stood a shot because it's like, well, look at what Vanderbilt's doing. Like, as great as, yes, I understand that no one's won it at Indiana, but I'm pretty sure no one's won it at Vanderbilt.
I don't think anybody's even
either, at least made it to New York, right? So to see someone at least get the invite to New York, it's like, okay, like maybe this dude's worth it. And then he didn't kind of help his cause afterwards and went full Manziel. A little bit. So
yeah, we'll dive into Diego Pavia's.
May not get another invite back.
Right. I would say infamous weekend. No, I mean he was there. He was invited there. So I think New York kind of now you understand why there were so many reservations about just who he was anyway as a season progressed. But we will dive back into that. But speaking of the Heisman Trophy, we can go back to years past where we can say that this guy had a Heisman moment. And again, no offense to Fernando Mendoza, but if the Heisman moment is, a comeback victory over let's just say an average Penn State team, these are the numbers from that game. So Indiana beat Penn State 27-24. Of course, the last second touchdown there, wild play, Gus Johnson on the call for Fernando Mendoza there on a late touchdown pass. He was 19 for 30, 218 yards with a touchdown and an interception. He was sacked 3 times, had 6 carries for 20 yards and a touchdown. Doesn't necessarily scream
Not
that.
really.
Yeah,
No.
like a Heisman-defining moment. But overall, when you look at the season, and I thought Jeremiah Love was the best player in college football. But if Ashton Jeanty didn't win it last year as a running back, it would have been almost impossible for Jeremiah Love unless he ran for, 2,500. It pretty much set an NCAA record as far as rushing yards. That was going to get him over the top. But I think Diego Pavia was kind of an interesting I guess kind of not necessarily a case study, but an interesting kind of feel, because when you look at the Heisman voters and how big of a gap it was from Fernando Mendoza and Diego Pavia, who finished second, by the way, and only had 608, I think like 618 first place votes.
Right, yeah.
While Fernando Mendoza had well over 2,500.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a massive
It was
gap.
clear.
Yeah, it was a massive gap. But I think that, you know, when Greg talks about college football being regional, I think this was kind of an example of that, because anybody down here, because he's the quarterback at Vanderbilt, and we saw him pretty consistently, and we saw him come on the map, you know, New Mexico State when they knocked off Auburn, and then he goes to Vanderbilt last year, they knock off Alabama, and we saw just his moxie, but we all saw the impact that he had on that football team. You could not escape it. Like, there was no question about it. And also, he won SEC Offensive Player of the Year this past season. But this weekend, he didn't do himself any good justice or any good favors as far as winning over the PR battle. Because, again, we're used to this. We kind of know, like, yeah, he kind of rubs people the wrong way. You either love him or you hate him. And you know, we talk about, is there a college football villain? Well, I think Diego Pavia kind of wants to be that, but it's also, man, you're at Vanderbilt. Why would we hate you because you're at a school that has never done anything? But now that they're doing something, it's like, hey, all eyes on me. We've given you the credit because we know how big and how much of an impact you had. But it's also, man, this isn't kind of the best lights you want to have as far as a public figure. So if you didn't get a chance to see just how everything played out after the Heisman Trophy ceremony where Fernando Mendoza won, I almost said Johnny Manziel. Diego Pavia had himself I guess you'd say a little bit of a party. He went to social media. He had some things to say about the Heisman voters. You can't say on air. But he basically had to wake up Sunday morning and apologize for some of the things and some of the remarks that he said. He was kind of a sore loser in the situation. And again, he said he made an apology, says it was kind of the competitor in him that, you know, he gives all the love and, you know, congratulations to Fernando Mendoza, but he also took it like, man, I'm a competitor. I want to win. I wanted to win that trophy. I feel like I had done everything I was supposed to do. But you don't say blank all the Heisman voters. It's, hey, man, you know, there's a way to just go about it. You could have said absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Could have said nothing. You could have just gone to your party, had a good time, like, hey, got my boys with me. We're in New York.
You could have easily said, I disagree with you, the Heisman voters, but I accept your decision. Could have easily said that.
Yeah. Take the high road. Just say, hey, I got a bowl game to show y'all.
Yeah.
One last hurrah of why I should have won the Heisman Trophy.
Although, all he had to do for him to, the best way for him to get away with this, be over 6 foot.
It's little man syndrome.
Yeah, apparently we found out he's a short king. That he's at least, I think he's listed at 6 foot or 6'1", but I think Mendoza's 6'1" or 6'2", and
yeah,
they were next to each other, and he's got a little Bryce Young in him. So if you were 6'3", 6'4", you say, oh, that's all right. You probably get away with it, but nah, man. Like, well, we found out.
Yeah, and again, Diego Pavia, we know. No, again, like I'm kind of to the point with him of you want to be Johnny Manziel so bad, but Johnny Manziel he's the legend for a reason. Like, he did the things that you aspire to do, but also if that's who you want to model your game after, okay, this is what comes with it. Like, there's a reason why Johnny Manziel kind of flamed out when he got to the NFL. There comes a certain level of discipline and kind of just the fine line between being, you know, over the top and also being confident. Nobody's ever going to knock you down for your confidence.
No, not at all.
I mean, you have been the underdogs. You've had the true underdog story all the way to this point. Even to the school that you're playing for in the SEC, you've been the underdog. We get it. But we also give you your flowers because we see you in this position that you're in. Nobody has ever thought that a Vanderbilt quarterback would find themselves in New York City for a chance to potentially be the Heisman Trophy winner. And now you kind of just squandered that because of just some of the things that you did. But, and again, I don't think anybody has ever just kind of like pointed their finger at Diego Pavia. But when you have, to me, when you look at the over-encompassing season that they've had in 2025, remarkable season. But when the two games that really mattered, quote unquote, not to say that the rest of them don't, but you did knock off Alabama again. You lost that one. You didn't have a great performance against Texas. Now you had a great third and fourth quarter, which was absolutely phenomenal, but you lost that game, and now Vanderbilt's on the outside looking in. Had you won one of those, Vanderbilt's in the college football playoff. We may be having a different discussion.
And honestly, he probably wins the Heisman.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You have Vanderbilt in the college football playoff. Everything that you have accomplished on the football field.
And even though Indiana would most likely still be the number one overall seed, Vanderbilt would have gotten a signature win.
Mm-hmm.
And it had been, especially if it had been that Texas game, that your Heisman moment, engineering that comeback.
Right.
That would have cemented it.
Yeah, it would have been an insane story. But we'll continue on the other side. We get to your text message, your calls, 205-834-9450. Also have some college basketball, some hoops action here in the city of Birmingham for Alabama, of course, Auburn as well. Also some news regarding the transfer portal for a team here in state. All that and so much more on the other side. Keep it locked right here on Morning JOX. 621 here on Morning Jocks. Damian Mitchell alongside John Saber. Conrad out for a couple days. Join some much needed vacation time. He will be back on Wednesday. But recapping over the weekend, of course, we had Army Navy. Army, again, here's the thing about the Army Navy game. Should have played the under, even though I think it was set at like 36. Still hit that under. But we know how that rivalry game is one of the more exciting spectacles that we have in college football, one of the bright traditions that we have. Army falls to Navy 17-16. Blake Horvath does everything for Army. I think he had 34 carries for 106 yards, 7 for 14 for 82 yards, touchdown and interception for the Navy midshipmen. Navy finishes the regular season 10-2, gets ready for a bowl game, and Army finishes the season at 6-6. Also had some action on the hardwood here in the state of Alabama. Starting here in our own backyard, Alabama was taking on the number 1 team in the nation, in the Arizona Wildcats. And Alabama in the first half, a typical top 10 matchup. It's high flying, high scoring, back and forth. And then they started to lay on them. The better team, the Arizona Wildcats, came out and they woke up in the second half. They got used to the Alabama time zone. They got used to the Central time zone there at Legacy Arena right down the street here in Birmingham. And Arizona knocks off Alabama 96-75. Braden Berries, 28 points. Jaden Bradley, 13. Krivas with 14. So when you're getting that kind of production, and what was the guy? Delasoro came off the bench. He gave you 13 as well for Arizona. They're just deep. And I think that the test that Alabama are starting to face with these early matchups with top 10 programs, one, you're kind of getting a barometer of where you are. But the thing is, like, they're competing. It's just the way that Alabama plays, live and die by the three. When you go cold, it's such a gut punch. It's the air raid version. It's the air raid football version of what they do in basketball. It's you take high risks, you get high rewards, but if you miss on those risks, you have high consequences because of the fact that the teams can kind of chip away. They can get 2 points here. They can have an 8-0 run, and that kind of turns the tide. And I thought you saw that with Arizona. And the best thing for them is they have big men. And I think that the style in which they play, that they're not living and dying by the three, but they don't have a problem with kind of slowing the game down. Death by 1,000 cuts. A couple plays here, and they end up, you look at the deficit, you're down by 12, you're down by 16, you're down by 18, and you feel like you have to press on the other side and just hit a three, but you never really got that. Aiden Holloway has 21 minutes, gives you a donut, 0 points, 0 rebounds, gives you 2 assists. But LeBaron Fillon gives you 24 points, 10 rebounds, and also 5 assists. Now we flip it over to the Auburn side of things. Auburn, they're playing in Atlanta, taking on the Chattanooga Mocs. Auburn was in control for the most part of this ball game, and it never really felt like it was a big separation, but you knew that Auburn was the better basketball team against the Mocs there in Atlanta, as Auburn knocks off the Mocs 92-78. It was 43-38 at halftime, and then Auburn pulls away there as the game went on, outscoring them in the second half 49-40. You go 26-53 from the field, almost 50% shooting, 11 from 30 from the three-point line. But what the damage was done was at the free throw line. When you get 37 attempts, you make 29. Those are those extra points that you kind of get. You out-rebounded the Chattanooga Mocs 40-18. So really just a dominating factor, a dominating presence for Auburn, and a great showing there in Atlanta as they start to, as we get inch closer to conference play, kind of working out some kinks and working out some things for the Tigers. But Keyshawn Hall gives you 22. Sebastian Williams-Adams gives you 8. Tahad Pettiford, of course, gives you 20 as well. So it's starting to come together for Stephen Pearl in his first year there on the plays, replacing his father. So that was kind of the overlying recap from the weekend as far as college hoops, college football. Of course, Kalen DeBoer gives you a graphic and lets you know that he is He is locked in at the University of Alabama. His sole focus right now is getting ready for the playoff matchup, the opening round game in Norman, Oklahoma, taking on the Oklahoma Sooners on Friday night. And I think the early read on that game, I think the temperature is supposed to be, I think the high is supposed to be 61, low of, I think, 44, 45. So it's not freezing cold, but it'll be a little chilly. But I know it's going to be an absolutely rocking atmosphere in Norman, Oklahoma this weekend. Alabama, right now, a slight favorite on the road, depending on where you get it at. You've seen as high as 2, see right about 1.5. And we'll see what that line does as we get closer to kickoff. But right now, the over-under set at 40.5. So not expecting a lot of offense.
That feels a bit high.
Not expecting a lot of offense there in Norman, Oklahoma. But it is the playoffs, and we finally get it. But we did have bowl games over the weekend. Washington knocks off Boise State in the final forever LA Bowl. That was a short-lived stint, but all in all, I think it was a pretty entertaining game. Washington kind of really separated. Okay. Yeah, they kind of really,
it was.
You learn really quickly.
Decidedly one-sided.
Yeah, you learn quickly, like, okay, Washington is the better football team in this situation. But nonetheless, it's live tackle football. To me, bowl games still matter because whether it's background noise or not, it's just something to kind of tune into. And if you play, ESPN Bowl Mania, you're kind of just going on a whim. Like it's kind of you never really know what to expect because we have all these opt-outs and we don't really know much of these rosters. It might be the first time you've watched a lot of these teams all season long, but a lot of these guys you kind of see for the first time. It's like, okay, well, now I can see why Washington ended up making a bowl game, or you start to see why they lost to certain teams along the way. Now with the new Big Ten. With Washington being a Big Ten opponent there. Well, a Big Ten participant representing their conference. So the Big Ten is 1-0 in bowl games. Congratulations.
One thing that I've heard Cole Kublik repeatedly point out in that it's people are going to call this or bowl games like this or bowl games for the most part in general meaningless. Well, are they playing in a game?
Yes, sir.
So there'll be a winner and a loser decided?
Yes, sir.
And then there's meaning in it.
Thank you. Trust me, I'm with you. I give me as many bowl games as possible. I don't care if the guys are opting out. Give me the third stringer that's trying to get some burn. Like he's gonna have the time of his life.
Someone's going to play.
Oh, 100%.
And that's what I want to see.
That 100%. It's still a game nonetheless. And again, if you're a fifth-year senior, you get your final game. It's the LA Bowl. You're in Los Angeles, California, getting all the glitz and the glamour of a bowl game. Who knows? Maybe an NFL scout sitting out there, the Rams and the Chargers both playing SoFi. They're looking around like, okay, I might have a hidden gem in the 4th, 5th round. And maybe your bowl game was the one deciding factor of, all right, you played in it. We see that you're locked in. You never know what could possibly happen.
The more reason why Notre Dame's decision is just baffling.
Yep. Imagine if you got Jeremiah Love for one more game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just to solidify, put some numbers in the record books. Just have fun. And again, you're playing football. The opportunity to play football and get better. Like Cole talks about all the time. The only way to get better at playing football is playing football. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. You need those reps. You need those situations. And again, maybe if you're only playing your starters for a half and saying, you know what, we're putting our walk-ons and freshman team out there. My God, you're still going out there getting some action. You're getting some game-like experience that is vital for your development as a college football athlete. So I'm perfectly fine with it. The whole state of Alabama will be must-see TV tomorrow because we have Troy and Jacksonville State playing in their bowl game. The IS4S salute to Veterans Bowl there in Montgomery, Alabama, at the Crampton Bowl. So all eyes on the state of Alabama tomorrow night. That game kicking off at 8:00. Troy and Jacksonville State. I think that'll be an interesting matchup. But we did have some interesting news in the transfer portal there for the state of Alabama, as well as the big names. A big name that we I'm not gonna say I didn't expect to see, but it kind of threw me off a little bit. But receiver for the Auburn Tigers, Malcolm Simmons, has officially entered the transfer portal. The 6 foot, 186-pound sophomore, of course, had some legal troubles to start the season off, but found that he was not guilty, went through his court proceedings, and played this season. And really and truly, if it wasn't for his spectacular plays in the Iron Bowl, Auburn doesn't even compete in that game. But we know what he is. He's an explosive guy. You really just got to put the ball in his hands, of course, from Alexander City, Alabama. But he is now another entrant into the transfer portal out of that receiver room, as we saw Horatio Fields enter a couple days ago, and of course Perry Thompson as well. So we'll monitor that and see where he goes moving forward. And again, this is just kind of the nature of the game. It happens. Rosters are going to be flipped over, but this is kind of one of those things because I think Alex Golish, the way his offense is set up, I think he still would have had an impact as far as the receiver position because, again, he's a playmaker. He's explosive when he has the ball in his hands. But, again, there's only one ball, and when you start to look at some of the NIL deals and some of the money that has to be relegated to another one of your cohorts there in that receiver room, I guess the money was a little slim as far as, quote-unquote, the contracts are concerned in that receiver room. But we shall see what goes on moving forward. 205-834-9450. Your text, your calls on the other side. Recapping whatever you want to talk about from this weekend. Of course, the Heisman Trophy ceremony. If you want to talk Auburn, Alabama hoops. If you want to talk Army, Navy, anything you want to talk about moving forward, we'll give the floor to you on the other side. Keep it locked right here on Morning JOX. 6:37 here on Morning Jocks. Damian Mitchell, John Saybear here with you to the top of the hour. Get you set for McElroy and Kublik in the morning. That from 7 to 10, of course, three-man front follows those guys up from 10 to 2. And, of course, the Paul Feinbaum show from 2 to 6. So you want to keep it locked here on JOX, of course, recapping what we have already discussed. Fernando Mendoza, Indiana quarterback, is the Heisman Trophy winner for the year of 2025. Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia finishes second, has some choice words on social media, then goes on the apology tour Sunday morning, letting people know he was just emotional. It happens. It happens. But I think that, again, he could have said absolutely nothing. Would have been just fine. Wouldn't have been a story. Could have just left it at he finished second, the highest that any Vanderbilt player has ever finished in the Heisman Trophy race. But he got the invite to New York. Jeremiah Love in Notre Dame, running back, finishes third. And Julian Sayin, he kind of looks at the way the voting went. Was like, why was I even here? Why was I even here?
This could have been an email.
Yeah, right. Could have just shot me a text and was like, you know what? It's all good. But Auburn knocks off Chattanooga in college basketball, 92-78. Alabama falls to Arizona, 96-75. Let's go to the phone lines. 205-834-9450, where our buddy Mark wants to talk some ball with us this morning. What's going on this morning, Mark?
What's up, fellas?
Hey, no complaints on this this cold Monday morning, but we above ground, so no reason to complain.
Yes, sir. Hey, listen, Pavia is an absolute dog, man. I really feel like he was probably the best player overall in the college football world. But with Mendoza having I guess you could say like a cleaner type demeanor, I think that went into play when the Heisman voters were deciding because, Mendoza, he's a big personality. And I just feel like that did play a little bit whenever they were voting. But I've also felt like the Heisman should be decided, I feel like later in the year, like possibly before the championship. That would give you a better idea of what the players are actually doing and facing because, let's just be honest. SEC is probably the best conference. It is. Not to put the other conferences down, but if Mendoza was to play in the SEC, how would he play game in and game out in that conference? And that would be my only gripe about the whole thing. But anyway, I'll let you give your comment on it.
Oh, man, Mark, we appreciate you. I still think Fernando Mendoza is a good quarterback. I would probably put him in the top half of the SEC. I would take him. I'll put it like this. If he were at Auburn right now, he would hands down be the starting quarterback. I don't think he would.
Yeah, Jackson Arnold transferred. So
even this past season, like even if he would have been in that quarterback room, yeah, I think he would have been hands down the starter.
Even without him cussing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely. And I ain't gonna say he would have saved Hugh Freeze a job or anything, but I think he would have been in a better situation. I think he probably starts at a lot of SEC schools. I think Kentucky for sure, Mississippi State for sure, Auburn, I think so. Again, I know we had to see what we saw, but I think he starts at Florida over DJ Lagway. He definitely starts at Missouri. And really and truly, the performance that we've gotten from John Mateer at Oklahoma, I think he probably beats him out. A lot of those throws that John Mateer has made this season, I don't think Fernando Mendoza necessarily makes. I think he probably starts over Arch Manning, which, again, I wasn't really coming into the season. I wasn't, just jumping for joy that Arch Manning was the starting quarterback. But I think he probably beats him out, especially early on. Just because of the inconsistency that we were seeing. I don't think he beats out Gunnar Stockton. I think it's interesting with him and Ty Simpson. I think their games are similar. I don't think that Alabama's any better or any worse if Fernando Mendoza's at quarterback.
Ty had a dip late season.
Yeah.
Fernando didn't.
Yeah.
It feels like they're, for the most part, rather similar.
Right. So, pretty much, I like Joey Aguilar, but I think Fernando Mendoza beats him out. I think as far as accuracy. But again, he's kind of in a sweet spot because Indiana can effectively run the football as well. So he's not really asked to do everything. But when he does, he's been accurate. He's been consistent. I mean, hell, they scored 63 points on Illinois. Never would have thought Indiana would put up that kind of numbers against a Big Ten opponent. And at that time, Illinois was, I think, the number 9 ranked team in the nation. And he goes out there and puts 63 points on them. So who knows? Who knows? But again, he is I'll put it like this. The people that had a Heisman vote made it very evident and clear that he was the best player in college football. Yep. Out of 2,300 points, 643 first-place votes. Again, Diego Pavia was second, and he finished with 189 first-place votes. So it was not even close that Fernando Mendoza was the Heisman Trophy winner. And again, going back to Julian saying, he finishes fourth. He had 8 first-place votes, and Texas Tech linebacker Jacob Rodriguez, quote-unquote, finished fifth, but he had 17 first-place votes. So even the guys that got invited to New York finished less than somebody did.
Right, yeah.
So, I didn't have a vote. I would have voted Diego Pavia, but in the grand scheme of it all.
Over Love?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just impact. Overall impact. But I do think Jeremiah Love, again, he's a running back, and if Ashton Jeanty didn't win it last year, there was no chance that a running back was going to win it this year, and I hate it for Jeremiah Love, but who knows? Let's continue on the phone lines. Greg in Russellville wants to talk with us this morning. What's going on, Greg?
Good morning, man.
How's life treating you?
Well, it's really good. I'm still laying in the bed, actually, and covered in it with too cold to go outside.
I don't blame you.
No, I work at home. And I listen to you guys a lot in the morning if I wake up early enough. But anyway, that's beside the point. That's a little too much information, but
just a tad.
I was just going to say I didn't really call to talk about the Heisman, but I kind of agree with that last guy. I think Diego to me was the most. I think he was the most deserving, probably. But I think sometimes how he carries himself, especially when he loses, and then his 2 brothers don't help him out any. Just like kind of how they walked in. Like when they walked in the other night, that was just kind of almost thug. I don't mean this ugly, but kind of like a thug mentality. So I don't know if anybody else thought about it that way, but I just thought that just it wasn't a good look, in my opinion.
There's a difference when you act this way and you're good, and you act this way and you're average and okay. Not to say that he's not a good quarterback, but look at what Jokic and his brothers do. Like his brothers are kind of act the fool too, but we kind of overlook it because Jokic is out here, winning 3 out of 4 MVPs and a championship and all like that. Like everyone's like, okay, that's fine. Let him go off and beat up people and run horses and all that. It's cool because it's Jokic, but Diego out here, not winning anything, and everyone's like, oh, you know what, that guy's, he's acting the fool. So it is amazing what we will excuse when someone's winning and doing really well.
Right. Well, as far as, I thought Diego was probably the most important for his team overall, but both guys would be, if you took Mendoza away, they would be different too. But anyway, I called to talk about the bowls. I am kind of like you guys. I will watch every bowl game on if I'm at home.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have it on and be watching it. And, I kind of get aggravated when they start running some of them into each other where I can't see all of them. I play that bowl mania, but I don't never do too good at it. But you can't, like you said, you can't hardly, figure it out now with who's playing, who ain't playing. But I was going to ask you guys, did you watch the Prairie View South Carolina State game?
Oh, yeah.
That was
wild. That was wild.
To me, that was, as far as entertaining and 2 teams that want to be out on a football field, I don't know you'll see it more in the rest of the season or not. But the thing that was really amazing to me that I had never seen before was that number 5, he is an amazing athlete for South Carolina State, a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He is really good, but when he picked that fella, his teammate up and toted him off the field, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, man, it shows that brotherhood. Greg, we appreciate your call. Yeah, the Celebration Bowl, that was the first game there on ABC, and South Carolina State knocks off Prairie View A&M 40-38, and it goes into 4 overtimes. And really and truly, as far as entertainment goes, it was by far the best game of the week.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you want to talk about two teams that have pride, and if you got a chance to hear South Carolina State's head coach in their press conference, I mean, it was like a national championship, man. He was like, everybody did all this talking all season long, of course, with Deshaun Jackson taking over at Delaware State and Michael Vick at Norfolk State. You don't talk about the NFL players coming back and being head coaches, but look at what we've built and look at what we've been able to do these past few seasons that I've been here and just building it up. And I mean, it was an exciting matchup, an exciting bowl game to start off bowl season in the month of December. We'll continue the conversation on the other side, get some of your text messages, 205-834-9450. Keep it locked here on Morning Jocks. 6:52 here on Morning Jocks. Damian Mitchell, John Saber here with you for a few more moments as we get you set for Mac and Cube. We'll go to the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. Nick texts in and says, morning, guys. I hated about Malcolm in the portal at Auburn. It is what it is, though. Wish him the best. I'm in the mindset of next man up at AU. Merry Christmas to you guys. And Nick from North Birmingham. Yeah, we appreciate it, man. And I agree with you. This is just college football. This is just how it's going to be. The transfer portal, of course, coaching staff changes. You got a little bit of a window, and maybe they just had a discussion with Coach Golish and was like, hey, maybe best if you find greener pastures, but you just never know. Somebody else takes in and says, Jacob Rodriguez had more first-place votes than Julian Sayin. Yep, sure did. Linebacker from Texas Tech had more first-place votes than Julian Sayin, who was just there along for the ride in New York City. Finishes fourth in the Heisman Trophy race. Chancellor texts in and says, do you think Cam Coleman goes to Florida if Marcus Davis takes the job? I know that was Marcus Davis, former wide receivers coach there at Auburn. I think he was a pretty big part of how they got Cam Coleman to Auburn. But I'm under the impression that Cam Coleman's deal at Auburn is pretty sweet, and he'd be kind of crazy to let that go, no matter who's throwing him the football.
Right, yeah, and seeing as how Golish seems to be a wonderkind in terms of quarterback development, I mean, if I'm looking to go to the NFL, if you're going to have a quarterback step up and actually be slinging the ball around, I mean, someone's got to catch it.
Yeah, right. If there's anything that we've seen at times, if you put it anywhere around him, it's usually his. Jamie texts in going back to Diego Pavia, says, what is an embarrassment for the Southeastern Conference, Vanderbilt University, and the head football coach, Clark Lee. Pavia is an embarrassment to the Southeastern Conference. What an embarrassing moment. What an embarrassing day for his family in the University of Vanderbilt. I'm just appalled by his actions before and after. The guy should have been ecstatic that a player from Vanderbilt could come in second at the Heisman Trophy voting. Again, what an embarrassment.
Of all the things that he and his family's done, like this ranks like maybe 20th in terms of embarrassing moments.
Right.
Like yes, is it embarrassing? Yes. Is it? So are we surprised that he's doing something embarrassing?
Absolutely
no,
not.
No. Like this is Draymond Green in like his fourth or fifth techno. It's like, all right, like we know what he's doing. Like,
yeah, right. Yeah,
this is who he is.
Yeah, right.
We signed up for this.
Yeah. Somebody texted and says, somebody tell Theo Vaughn to tell his stepson to calm down. Yeah. Of course, we know the tie with that. But like you said, of all of the embarrassing moments, I think it's kind of par for the course when it comes to that. Yeah, like, oh, okay, this is kind of where
he put out an Instagram story. Oh, what did he say? The F word. Really? No, just literally F. That's it?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man, we'll be back tomorrow. Mac and Cube in the morning. They're next.